The boy has several septic wounds on the back.
Marian Barasa, KTN.
Okay, thanks Marian Barasa for the news roundup. Allow us to shift focus right now to the conversation tonight, which is focused on the state of human rights in the country. The situation in Kenya in this year 2025 continues to be a subject of concern, and that's why human rights landscape is constantly changing and it needs ongoing monitoring, which is quite essential. That's what we'll be doing tonight. We'll take a look at police accountability, matters to do with enforced disappearances and abductions, and equally, is there any reprieve in the corridors of justice when it comes to such related cases? I'm joined by three esteemed guests. Allow me to introduce them. I'll begin with the gentleman on my immediate right. Hussein Khalid needs no introduction. He's the CEO of Vocal Africa, and just a breakdown, Vocal Africa is a movement of community activists and human rights defenders working to expose injustices, empower communities and demand accountability. Hussein, it's great to have you with us. Karibu sana to the studios.
Asante.
Thank you. Equally joined by Wangeshi Kahoria, who is the Executive Director at the Independent Medical Legal Unit, which is an organization striving towards a society free from torture and related human rights violations. Wangeshi, thank you for your time. Karibu sana.
Thank you for having me.
Looking forward to a fruitful discussion. Equally joined by David Otieno. He's a presiding convener at the Civil Society Reference Group of Kenya, a civil society platform bringing together more than 120 non-state actors in Kenya. David, asante sana for your time. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay, so we're having this discussion at a time when so much is happening, especially in the year 2025. In just a while, we'll be playing sound bites from President William Ruto, who in February, during his Northeastern Development Tour, actually gave the orders to the police deputy IG Masengeli to bring back 5 abducted chiefs. So far, no progress has been made so far, but the PS for Interior, Omolo, was in our sister station Spice FM, and he gave a status update on the efforts to bring back these 5 chiefs. Equally, we've seen a lot of developments playing out just this week, where the Delaware MCA, he goes by the name Yusuf Hussein, who had vanished for up to 6 months, and he just resurfaced on March 8th, not too long ago. He's currently in hospital getting much needed reprieve after that ordeal. So we just want to have a conversation on the backdrop of these developments as we broaden our horizon and talk about other matters that are playing out in the country. I'd like to begin with you, Hussein, because we just saw the Delaware MCA returned. We thank God he's alive, but it begs the question on who exactly abducted him, whether those abductors have other people being held incommunicado. So what exactly does this tell us about the state of human rights in the country as we speak?
Yeah, so that's the million-dollar question. And that's what presently is disturbing so many Kenyans and is raising so many concerns, because these abductions keep happening. Some of the abductees, you know, it's months, have never been seen. Some of them come back after a couple of months, like the MCA, Mheshimiwa Yusuf. And, you know, some of them, bodies are picked from the streets. But what is so disappointing is that we have institutions in this country. Least of all, the, you know, IPOA, we have the National Police Service, that have completely failed to do their work in terms of investigating and giving answers to Kenyans. We spoke to the MCA the other day. We had people who were talking to him, and there have been no investigations, no statements taken by the police wanting to know what has happened. We spoke to Kitengela 3 months after they have been released. No DCI, no police has gone forward to want to know where they were, so that, you know, we can try and establish what happened. So you can clearly see that the institutions that are mandated to investigate, to give Kenyans answers as to the disappearances and abductions that are happening in this country, they are totally failing to do their work in ascertaining what exactly transpired, so then we can know what we are supposed to do to ensure that we do not get ourselves in that same situation. And that is the million-dollar question that you've asked. Yeah. Where was MCA Yusuf? Where were the Kitengela 3? And why are the authorities not doing anything to answer that question?
Well, that's why speculation is rife, perhaps.
Exactly.
Some people question how you'd investigate yourself. You know, and that's why speculation is rife. And we'll get to that. Wangeshi, as you come in, there are active court cases where we see the court order the police inspector general to disclose whereabouts of abducted individuals. And despite these court orders, there's no clarity that is provided by police or investigative agencies, which is quite worrying. What message does this send? Is there enough goodwill to tackle violation of human rights, abductions, and enforced disappearances from where you sit?
Thank you. From where I sit and where we sit, we are clear, very, very clear, that there's no goodwill, there's no political goodwill to investigate, to bring to an end any of these injustices, be it torture, be it enforced disappearances, be it extrajudicial killings. Now, the sad thing is that we have a constitution that we are supposed to uphold. We have a rule of law. The rule of law must be respected. But what we are seeing is complete disregard to the rule of law. We are seeing our constitution not being upheld at all by those that should be setting the example, by those that we are supposed to hold to account. And we are seeing even disrespect to Kenyan citizens ourselves. Because why are people getting abducted? And actually, the right word is not even abduction. The right word is enforced disappearance, because it is a state, all the appointees of people they know that are actually taking people away and disappearing them. Now, the question is, why would the machinery that is in place not be able to investigate, to track, and to bring back the people that have been disappeared? Let me just say that even as we speak today, we must remember that we still have 28 people that are missing. 28 people that are still missing. Families have no knowledge of where they are. There is pain. And what is that doing to the Kenyan citizen? We are sitting and asking ourselves, we have a right to expression, a right to picket, a right to assembly. But any time you express yourself, then you're disappeared. What does that do to our generation and the generations to come? So there's a lot that those that should be upholding our constitution and ensuring that Kenyans are safe, ensuring that we can walk without fearing that I'll be taken away because I have voiced myself, or my children, or those around us. They really must be held to account. And let me just add one key thing. Sure. I think the level of impunity in this country is just too much. We deal on an everyday basis, documenting cases of torture, documenting cases of extrajudicial killings, documenting cases of enforced disappearance. We reported 89 cases of enforced disappearances last year.
So you sort of get the mtadu.
Exactly.
Impunity. Okay, David, as you come in, because this issue of abduction is one of the topical issues in our national discourse, and it doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. Tell me this, is it enough for the police to feign ignorance, to say that so-and-so isn't in our custody, so we don't know where he is? I mean, their police service meant to serve Kenyans. Give us your take on this.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the government is clearly responsible, because if you look at chapter 14 on the security, and if you look at one of the security organs is the National Intelligence Service, and this service is tasked with conducting such investigations and informing Kenyans. So if people are getting lost, are being abducted, or enforced disappearances are taking place, and then nobody's talking, then does it mean that we are having a parallel system somewhere? Does it mean that there's a group of people who are operating, who can't be seen by the radar? So I think if the government is telling us that they don't know, then somebody should be held accountable. Because if there's somebody who is earning salary today so that they are able to provide intelligence services to the people of Kenya to tell us what is happening, and we can't get that information, then I think these people should be squarely held responsible and they should be prosecuted, because that is the work they should be doing, and that's why they're earning salary. And if you look at, secondly, you find that the reason why you find there's no accountability, because you rightly said that you find that the courts are issuing orders to public officers, maybe leaders of the police service, and they're not coming. It's because I think politicization of the security sector. Because you find that there have been amendments to the Constitution to water down, for example, the role of the National Police Service Commission, which is very much important in ensuring that there's professionalism in the service. So you find that there were sometimes around 2015 during the security amendments when some of the responsibilities of the commission to ensure that they conduct proper interviews, so that people who are competent are there. So when that role is watered down, then you find that issues of politics. So when I'm in power, for example, and I feel that something that is happening is going to expose me, then you find that the people in the political power tend to interfere with such investigations. So what I can say is that the government cannot feign ignorance. You said that the president actually gave orders so that the abducted chiefs should be found. But we have never seen such an order when Kenyans, when children of poor people, of peasants are being abducted. We have never seen the government asking where they are. So I think the government should not employ double standards. Article 29 guarantees every Kenyan right to security. Whether you are a chief, whether you are a president, whether you are somebody living in Mathare or Kangemi, you need to have security, and somebody who took the Bible to say that he's going to defend the Constitution should be answerable when Kenyans are not secure.
Quite so. Let's just listen into what President William Ruto had to say in February as he was ordering the return of those 5 abducted chiefs. We sort of put these bites together. Not just that, we'll hear from what the PS had to say in terms of the status update when it comes to that particular case of the 5 missing chiefs, and equally the Delaware MCA who was returned, I think on Sunday, if I'm not wrong, on Saturday, who was returned on Saturday, and the family, of course, is still asking questions because his return leaves more questions than answers. Let's just listen in to what was said.
I want to promise the people of Mandera, hawa machief lazima warudi nyumbani, na hawa wakora na wagaidi na wahuni tutabambana na wao. Nimekuja na Deputy Inspector General wa Police yuko hapa, Bwana Masengeli.
We have had instances, and we all live in this country, where someone is alleged to have been abducted. 2-3 days later, they were at a boyfriend's house, and so you're like, okay, what must the government do? And at the same time, what must Kenyans do? So that, yes, we are very clear as a government, it is not a government policy to do abduction, and the president has been very unequivocal about this, that this can never happen and will never happen under his watch.
I've been looking for him. He has come back with to us. He has rejoined with his family. We have nothing much to say, but just to thank Allah for bringing him back.
Of a soapbox of different reactions, but Hussein, what comes to mind when you hear such sentiments? Because in an ideal situation, where does the buck stop? Tell us about that, because the police service is independent, yet we have an executive who came to power with the promises of an end to extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances. Where does the buck stop?
The buck stops with the individuals who are in office. And for me, it's really disturbing when a senior officer, such as a PS, comes in and makes a mockery of such a serious issue. People have been abducted, lives have been lost, people's families changed forever, and then a PS comes to a public forum in a national television like KTN and tries to, just play simple and say people go to B&Bs and such kinds of places. Such kinds of individuals are not supposed to be in office. These are the individuals who are taking us years back to those days, the dark days of the Moi regime. Why is he talking about people who went away for 2-3 days to their girlfriends instead of answering the question of where the Delaware MCA was? Why is he choosing to trivialize such an important issue? Where were the Kitengela 3? It is embarrassing for a senior officer such as a PS to come to, a national television and speak as if, we are playing cat and mouse games in this country. Really, we don't have time. We don't have I don't know. For me, it's really, really disturbing that public officers who are meant to take responsibility and an important docket such as interior, and you just come and you just, trivialize issues as if they are nothing. These individuals must be held to account, in my view. This is the time when, colleagues, we are collecting the relevant documentation, the evidence. These videos, such as the program we saw on Spice FM this morning, should be used. And that time will come when all these leaders will be held to account. Many people think that when they're in power, when they're in office, that will last forever. That will not last forever. But they say power is transient. And a day will come when either we will have Wangeshi or we will have anyone in those powerful positions, and these individuals must be held to account. That is what we need to do. Fight impunity in this country. Because an officer who is involved in the abduction hears the PS defending him in this manner, that does nothing but encourage them to continue doing that. Because this is an officer who is supposed to speak and say, my government, and as long as I'm in this position, we will investigate every matter. Those who are their boyfriends, fine. Those who are abducted, we will follow through, and we will make sure that the culprits are brought to book. Take the example of the KWS, Brian Odhiambo in Nakuru. There were tens of witnesses who saw him being arrested, being beaten up, being put in a KWS vehicle, and the vehicle moving in. Those KWS rangers have recorded statements saying, yes, we had him, and yes, we went with him inside the park. They even attested of 5 kilometers inside. And then they come and they say, he jumped off the vehicle and ran away. And as a country, you sit there as the PS, these issues are there, people are asking questions, and the answer you have is that, people go to their boyfriends. It is embarrassing. It is very shameful that we would have such a PS, speaking without care about matters that are very serious in this country. And I repeat this, the day will come when we will hold these individuals in office to account.
As an independent medical legal unit, you work hand in hand with the corridors of justice, and perhaps my question is formulated in such a manner that you mentioned up to 28 people are still missing due to enforced disappearances. Is there accountability? Is there reprieve in the corridors of justice? What's the progress of some of the cases that you've personally worked on as IMLU to ensure Kenyans, or to show Kenyans that, one arm of the government isn't doing its job, but this other arm is hell-bent on ensuring there's justice for Kenyans in the society here?
I wish I would answer that question and give Kenyans hope, but I wouldn't. Because when I think of the struggles, just from the mere reporting, we started reporting people missing, that people have been disappeared way back at the beginning of the year. In fact, after June, we made a lot of reports. There was constant denial, until I think September, when the first statement was made by the then, I think, CS admitted, actually, we have people that are missing. That's the first thing. Number two, there has been no effort at all to try and locate these people. Now you deny there are no efforts to locate, there's no effort to even produce people in court when the court determines that they should be produced to court. And Walid has just given the example of Brian. Okay, so in terms of the corridors of justice, we do what we need to do. We document, we gather the information that we can, but we are not the investigators, because there's somebody who's employed with taxpayers' money to do that.
True.
Yeah? And I'll take you back even into the quarry, the quarry bodies. What happened? You know, it's really sad. Somebody is arrested.
Is the suspect still aloof? Was he found?
He was never found.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Yes, okay.
so you can see there's really no goodwill to do what you're supposed to do in the office that you hold. And it's important to remember that every of these duty bearers are holding those offices because they are paid by taxpayers. In essence, Kenyans are their employers.
True.
And they owe it to us to give us answers. Even when you say, we did not abduct them, let's assume you say, and actually you did not disappear them. Whose responsibility is it to look for them? That's why we have security organs, you know. We have NIS, we have DCI, we have all these bodies. They're supposed to work and deliver. Walid mentioned the Kenya National IPOA, Independent Policing Oversight Authority. From where I sit, we don't have any concluded cases on police who've been held to account and convicted of cases of either police brutality or their role in abductions or disappearance. Files keep missing, evidence keeps getting tampered with, and I don't know how long we'll keep playing this game. But the bottom line for me, honestly, is disrespect to human life, impunity, and lack of accountability, that nobody can get to you. But we are saying, because we work with a lot of professionals, for example, IMLO, we work with networks of doctors, with lawyers, with journalists, with, you know, monitors on the ground. Kenyans are beginning to wake up, and they have woken up, and they're saying, we will make sure that one day you deliver and you're held to account. And so it's the high time that these offices start delivering. It's a high time that the government starts honestly taking responsibility, and judiciary, of course, should be able to make sure that the cases that are brought to them are concluded in a timely manner, because justice is actually what we should be seeking at the end of the day. Families need to recover. Families need to go on with their lives. They're not able to move on at all.
David, add on to that, because justice delayed is justice denied.
Yes, yes. In fact, we have a robust legal framework to hold people to account. And if only we have the political goodwill, because, for example, if we are having a peaceful procession along Moi Avenue, and we know the police has to be deployed, there must be a roll so that we know which police officers were deployed. So someone can tell us that we don't know who was there. Because clearly a police officer who is going to, they can't just come from their houses and move to the streets. They must be mobilized, they must be given instructions. And therefore, if an incident happens along a street during a procession and somebody is shot or arrested or abducted at that particular point, we should be able to know which officers were operating at that particular point. And of course, I'm happy that we have seen several cases in court actually suing or prosecuting these officers in person. And we saw, of course, the IG and the then acting, they refused, but at some point they went there. So I think we also need to start targeting these OCSs, these people who are actually deploying people, because if you can't tell us who was quelling riots in that particular place where somebody was abducted, then you should be held responsible, because the buck stops at somebody. And of course, Kenya, if you look at issues, maybe people are being abducted because of assembly. You find a situation whereby people have notified the police, and in fact the law doesn't even tell us to notify the police. But you find that sometimes people even write letters to the police officers and say we are going to have a procession, and then it is allowed. And then when the people are assembling, people are arrested. And then someone claims, you know, we don't know what happened there. So I think even if somebody was a criminal, we have rights to an arrested person. Because if I'm a criminal, if you are saying that I want to do something bad, then arrest me and charge me before a court of law. Kenya, so I think that Kenya even is part of international instruments that we can use to hold individual government officers to account, those who are not following the law.
Okay, because you're innocent until proven guilty. Allow us to take a short break. The bills have to be paid. But as we come back, we'll expand this conversation to other incidents that have played out in the country. Not too long ago, we had the Shauri Moyo fracas where, 2 lives were lost and multiple injured, including police officers who were injured in the fracas. But questions arise when police use live bullets to quell demonstrations. That and other incidents coming up next. Do stay with KTN Prime.